Welcome to this installment of Couch Confessions with Jen. We're going to talk about all the things that you need to know about real estate. Everything. All of it. We're going to talk about it right here. Check it out. I think something that people don't realize about agents is how they become part of your family. And of all the agents that we work with, I think that you are the epitome of that because we've helped you with several of your clients generation after generation. Yeah. And I think that that's something I want you to talk about to me. Like, how do you develop those relationships with those folks?
Oh my goodness. Well, first of all, I try to be, and they're to help. I want to help them. Mm-hmm. I get excited for them. You know, when I see people looking at houses, and especially when they have kids too,
yeah.
and they go run into rooms looking for their bedrooms, I just think that's so sweet. And I really try to get to know the whole family. Like after the first showing, I try to remember to remember everybody's name and just have that relationship with them.
Make them feel special.
Yeah, I do. Well, they are special.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not just like in this it's great to make money, but it's nice to make friends. I feel like most of them are my friends when it's over, and I keep them in my phone.
Yeah.
I don't get rid of anybody in my phone.
And
if they call me 5 years later, I'm like, oh, there's Kathy.
Yeah.
If they have the same number.
Yeah,
exactly. Which most of them do, like I do.
Yeah.
So, and it's a good feeling. It really is.
Yeah.
When they get a hold of you after so, it just really is.
And
I appreciate them, all of them.
But we see agents that don't have that. So that they'll use them one time and then they'll use somebody else, and they'll, so we see people that don't keep that relationship.
And when I see somebody else, if they go to somebody else, me, I take things personal. Yes. I can't help it. I do.
I think it's rare when that happens to you, though.
I'm like, what did I do wrong? Yeah. But they didn't call me back. And then somehow I usually find out what happened, and it's not usually
anything to do with you.
No. But you just feel like it kind of is, because I'm like, did I not make a good enough impression on them, or whatever. But when I walk away from closings, usually I always have a good feeling with people.
Yeah. And you stay in touch with them too.
I try.
I
do try. If I haven't talked to somebody for a while, and sometimes you see them mention something on Facebook, like you say, they must be wanting to buy a house or something.
Right.
I'm like, hey, how you doing? Not just then though.
Right.
But I do sometimes. I'll just go through my contacts and I text or just to say hi or whatever. How you doing? And people, I see them having these kids, and their kids are getting older, and then I feel really old sometimes. But I just appreciate them very much. I do. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be in this business, the way I am if I didn't care.
And how long have you been doing this? You've been doing this
20 years.
20 years.
But I've been around it for way longer than that.
Yeah, you were
since 1983 when I started working for Ron.
Working in an office, as an admin. So
I was 19.
19?
That tells you how old I am now. So, yeah.
But I just think that, people don't realize sometimes when they buy a house that does become what happens, because especially now you spend so much time with them looking for a house. It can be months or maybe years before they get an accepted offer right now.
Yeah.
And
crazy.
So I think that, you are really good at developing that relationship, and that just, I think, proves your heart for people.
Yeah, I do. I love all of them. I do. Like, you can get frustrated too, but that's, you got to get past
it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're better off to talk about it too. It's like, what's wrong?
And I think that you're really good at that. You don't just ignore something if you feel like something's not right.
Right.
And I think that is also what helps you with your relationships with them.
Yeah, and some of these young kids buying houses are so much fun. They are so excited, and they know what they want too. Mm-hmm. They really do. And most of them.
And that's the thing too. Like, have you seen such differences in 20 years of how maybe 20 years ago somebody was versus now? Because I've been doing it 16 and I've seen a difference.
Yes.
So what kind of differences have you seen as you've helped these families from their parents to the kids?
Just how a lot of them know, because they have access to, everything's online, and they call me and go, I want this house. I want to see this house. One thing is, they're not looking at 20, 30 house, well, there's just not that many out there in the first place to even, you got to jump on them now, there's going to be gone. If you go look at more houses, that will be gone when you go back.
Exactly,
to it, probably.
yeah.
But
you got to know when you go in.
yeah, you do. And that's, I think that's one of the things is that people, I used to feel bad if, like, I'm thinking, you can't just look at 2 houses and decide. You can't do that. No. I mean, I would, if they wanted to, I let them.
Right.
But I'm like, but now it's like, you can't even do that.
No.
Now you're talking, how much should we offer over the list price?
Yeah.
Who ever thought that day would come?
I know.
And now I hate to even do it now. But if that's getting easier for me too, it's like, how bad do you want it?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's.
And usually if they listen to me and do what I tell them to, they usually win. And I let them know. It makes me still have 6 sometimes. I just messed up. But I mean, my stomach turns. I feel it's just a big game,
Yeah.
And I tell them that. I'm like, I don't like this, multiple offer stuff. It makes me a nervous wreck. And if they don't get it, then I feel sick. And
but it's because you care about it.
I do, but the good thing too. Just the other day, I showed a house to a lady, and she's waiting for something else to come up because this one over by Saturday it was gone. Yeah. But she goes, you know what? I just decided if we do it and I don't get it, then it wasn't meant to be. And I'm like, that's the best way to look at it.
Kind of how you have to be right now.
You really do, because you could just make yourself sick over not getting the house. It's like, it's not worth it.
It's a house. It's not the house.
Right.
It's what you put in it.
Right.
And I think that people, maybe with age, you realize that. It doesn't matter what house you're in.
Yeah.
It's who's in it that matters.
Yeah. But back to when I used to think somebody would look at, I used to think they had to have a list of houses to look at before they made a decision because it's such a big decision. Mm-hmm. But that's just changed too. Because first of all, there's just not that long list to be able to go look at, like I said. And they just already know from looking online. Mm-hmm. I mean, they,
so much information.
I try to keep up to date on listings, especially the ones that come up new around here. I get notifications myself. That helps me when they call me or text me. I pretty much know what house they're talking about before I even look it up. But they just do. I think they just really know what they want. And they let me know too. It's like, I want to see this house right now. And what do we have to do to get it?
Yeah.
Like,
well, and I think they're more educated. I feel like
totally.
that younger, I want to say kids, but I shouldn't say that because they're adults. But but I feel like the younger generation is much more educated than I was when I bought my first house. Sure. And so I think that makes a big difference. I think that makes it a little easier that they don't have to see 20 houses because they've looked over every website and every picture and they've done all the research and they've looked on every site about it and the auditor's site and this and that, and they've looked it all up. So I think that maybe helps them feel a little more at ease of not looking at 20 houses like it used to be.
Yeah, I think so
for
too.
sure. So.
And you can tell when they walk in some houses, you just know.
Yeah.
And I love looking at houses too. They're just so pretty. And,
sometimes when you walk in, it's not what it looked like. I've had that happen too. I'm like, this is not what those pictures
I know.
look like.
Yeah, there's one.
Who's got great pictures when you go walk into houses sometimes. So.
Yeah. Well, there was one a couple of years back in the pictures, the house that looked like big rooms, and I was like, where's that kitchen at we saw?
Yeah.
It was not, I don't know how they did it.
Yeah, I've seen a few that way, so that does make a difference.
Yeah,
so.
I think so.
And that's why always when I see people that like, oh, they bought it all online, I'm like, they've never been in it. Like, I'm old, so I don't think I could do that.
I've done one house like that, and that was kids coming here from Virginia. He was getting out of the service.
Yeah.
But we did go with his, or her brother and sister-in-law.
Yeah.
And they trusted them. We did a video thing, and they had bought a house from me.
Yeah.
And so.
Again, see, it's a referral.
Yeah, it was great. It is a good feeling to
Yes.
get referrals like that. It really is when they call me like that. I truly appreciate it too. I mean, I do so much. But yeah, they bought it or wrote an offer on its site and see other than the videos. But they knew what they wanted to. It was close to family.
Yeah.
And so we went to, when they did get home, not like a week before closing, she's like, can we go out there? And I'm like, well, yeah, I figured you might want to go see it. And they had 4 kids, I think.
Yeah.
They had 4. So we went, but her husband wasn't back yet, so it was just me and her.
Yeah.
And the kids. And then I don't know. He came later. He got to see it too before we closed. But
awesome.
But they were totally happy with it.
Yeah.
But that's the only one I've ever sold
that
like
way.
that.
Yeah, that makes me nervous.
I can remember.
But I think that goes back to the education and the stuff they can find online. So, but even though you do all those things online, you still make those relationships with those people, and I think that's awesome. So
Oh, yeah.
you're just amazing. You're an amazing advocate for your people.
Please.
You are.
You're so sweet.
No, you're just an amazing advocate for them, and you get them into those houses, and then they just love you. So, and we love you too. We love working with you.
Oh, well, you know how I feel about you
You're,
guys.
you're my girl.
Well, it's funny. I was thinking about this morning when you started here. Have you been how long been doing this here in Chillicothe?
12 years in Chillicothe. Yeah.
So when my other person left me that I use all the time, I moved out of state. I was devastated because I was like, what am I going to do? And you just happened to show up at the right time and took over, and it was like, it was awesome.
And then we realized I sold you furniture at the
I
furniture
know,
store.
yeah. So I already knew, yeah, and you were great there too. So, but I totally, I know people have to make their own decisions, but I always mention you guys.
Yeah.
With have to do 2 or 3 other ones too.
Yeah.
But
we appreciate that.
But I let them know how good you've been how you take care of clients.
We appreciate that.
Yeah.
So
Well, I
thank you for
appreciate
stopping
this
in
too.
today. I think that
Thanks for having me.
I love chatting with you. I always do. So thank you.
We get to go to lunch soon too.
Yes.